Hi, it's Therese in Lostinpaper, and I'm here for Altenew's Inspiration Challenge for August. And I've got this fabulous photo of flamingos, and I thought these lotus flowers would work perfectly in keeping with the colours and also with the watery kind of look. So I am doing a watercolour image or watercolour picture today, and am using the smooth side of some watercolour cardstock as well as some Ranger Jet Black archival ink, just because I know that that works really well with the watercolours and it won't bleed. I have masked off my flowers and just quickly stamping out all of my images ready to go. And then I can get with the colouring, because watercolouring can take quite a bit of time to do. It's a lot of drying time, and I actually made this card over a few days. So I had lots of fun though with the images, and I thought that they looked really sweet and worked out perfectly with the actual inspiration photo. I'm just removing my masks here, and that just shows you the finished images of how the flowers are going to look. I'm starting off using some distress inks, but I'm also going to be using some Ganzai Tambi paints as well, and I'll list the colours that I use over at my blog, so you can link through the description below to find those. But the technique that I'm using is wet on wet, so I'm actually wetting my cardstock first and then picking up my colour with my paintbrush and then dropping it into the actual flower. Even though the flower is going to be all exactly the same colour, I am trying to sort of do petals that aren't touching each other, and that way it will define some of the petals. Some will be darker than others. I am going to come in with a little bit of red as well later, because that's part of the inspiration colour, and I just thought it added a bit of depth to these flowers. So I'm going to keep painting now, lots of painting. This took, like I said, a long time for me to make, over a few days, and I'll be back as soon as all of the colouring is done. So now that I've got through all my marathon painting, oh, it just takes so long because you have to allow, I like it to air dry in between, and then I kind of go away and do something else and come back and start again. But you know, that's how it goes. So what I'm doing here is cutting down the edges of my panel and then actually just trimming out the flowery bits on the edge of each side of the watercolour cardstock, because I kind of want them to sit out, not over the edge of the card, but just to the edge of the card. And I've got some black cardstock here that I'm using my ATG gun. I'm going to adhere that to the front of my top fold card. So I decided to use the black on the base of my card so that it would just help the image panel kind of pop. So next I'm going to be working on my sentiment, and I've got the Best Mum set, and this is so pretty. I really love this flower. It's the most gorgeous thing. The sentiments, they're really nice, but they're all kind of veered towards Mother's Day. And see the word mum here, it's spelled M-U-M, which is the way we spell it here in Australia, and some of the sentiments have the word M-O-M, but what I've done is they're actually really easy. I've just cut off the word M-O-M, mum, and that way I can use the sentiment on anything other than a Mother's Day, and I can always put it back if I wanted to. So I'm using my Misty, and I've got a piece of acetate protecting my card front, and here's a little trick I found. Is what I can do now is actually stamp out my sentiment onto my, it's the grid, this is grid paper that's sitting on top of my Misty, so I'm not actually stamping onto my Misty itself, but by doing this I can tell that my sentiment is nice and straight. So I've tucked the card back into the corner, and now I can use my jet black ink to stamp out my sentiment. And the good thing about using the Misty is that it is watercolour cardstock, and if it doesn't stamp properly the first time, then I can always restamp it. But it did, because it's jet black ink from Altenew, and it's awesome. And now I've added some fun foam to the back of my front panel, and using some score tape to hold that in place, I'm just going to adhere this to the front of my card. I do snip off the very edges of the flowers, add a couple of sprinkles, and that's my card done. Thanks for joining me today. I can't wait to see how you're inspired by this challenge, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.